Okay, so here's what I want to do. I have got the minor gods all organized by era. So
Okay.
we'll start with Athena, Hermes, Ares, so on and so forth. Down the line.
Okay.
I have pulled up their different, wiki pages. So we can
Cool.
take a look at the art. We can go down. We can see, what's the god power, what's the myth unit, what are the texts,
Can we
and
factor in original art?
you can do whatever you want. I mean, there are no rules.
We're
right?
using the old Bast art.
No, wait. Old is in like vanilla, or
No,
old is
kitty
in
cat.
the AI?
Kitty
Oh,
cat.
okay, kitty
Kitty
cat.
cat.
Bast, okay.
Right. So
Well, then she's S tier, right?
Yeah, S tier.
it's a combo of whatever you want. Like, I mean, for me, I'm going to be looking at the art. I'm looking at the units. Just how cool. None of us are pros. We're not like, talk about how,
We're not
how strong
good at
it is
the
in the
game.
meta. But it's
We're
how cool
not
does it
good.
feel to play?
We're not good at the game. Stop flattering us by implying, yeah, we're decent, but we're just not.
we're
no,
decent.
we're bad.
Right.
I mean,
right.
yeah, we got our stuff wrecked by a Ptah that's just shifting sands in elephants 3 times in a row. We did not learn from a single one.
Nope. You think we defended that spot? You best believe no.
He hit all 3 of them. You figured by the second one, we're like, oh, it's going to be me next, and I still sent my entire army to you.
Yep.
Oh boy.
All right. If you guys are ready,
I didn't know if you wanted to do an intro.
all I'm gonna say. Here's my intro. You ready? My intro is like, I hope if you guys really enjoy the video, be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel, and let me know if you want to see more stuff like this with the boys. That's all I got. All right, let's get right into it. So our first minor god here, Athena. So really cool art. Just going down here. The god power is restoration. Area effect heal for a whole bunch of units. Text that upgrade your infantry, less hack armor, less, what is that, more pierce? Wait a minute. So hoplites have reduced hack vulnerability. Then there's reduced pierce vulnerability for all your infantry, and then upgrades to
right?
the Minotaur. Yeah.
I want to say they have one that increases damage, don't they? You may want to open the client.
Sarisa gives them minus 10% hack vulnerability and plus 1 range. So like it gives them extra damage.
I would have put money on them having a damage tech from Athena.
So either you're talking about that we're bad at the game thing, like right out of the gate. Yeah. Either I'm not recognizing that the wiki is wrong, or else we're like, I could have sworn that she.
No, it's the range because I go Athena every time.
Yeah. Okay, so it is range. Okay,
yeah,
so the wiki's wrong.
Okay. What?
No. The wiki's right. You're wrong. There's no
I'm
extra
wrong.
damage.
You are wrong.
Okay.
Yeah, we do a little bit of game.
And the Minotaur is the myth unit. Tough melee unit, can fling enemy units away. Danny, since you said that you like to play Athena a lot, like where would you? So we've got kind of got on the tier list here, like 4-star, 3-star, 2-star, and 1-star. Anything from like the coolest in the roster down to meh, whatever, not that cool.
Are we doing?
Based on your vibes, it's nothing but vibes. How cool is it?
I mean, I kind of like Athena. She's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. Pretty cool.
Like restoration minotaurs are cool. The splash art's like decent.
Yeah.
But
well, I don't really play the Greeks, and I don't think I've picked Athena once, but so I'll default to y'all on this.
I think that the splash art is pretty cool. I think the splash art is a really nice upgrade from the OG.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really like the new look. The art's really cool. I think restoration is a really neat god power. It's cool because it's not just like a one-time heal, but you can actually throw that down in the middle of a fight, and you can almost use it offensively to sort of ensure that you win a match you'd otherwise would be losing. So it's not just about healing up units, but you can decisively win fights with that power. I think the texts are really neat. I mean, Minotaur's a cool myth unit.
I will give it that, yeah.
I think the Minotaur is one of those classic mythological creatures that when you think about Age of Mythology, you think of this game. So I think that you have to put her at least in pretty cool. I wouldn't put her at the top of the list. So yeah, I agree. Pretty cool.
Her texts are kind of
Her techs are I think the
unimaginative.
weak point of the techs, I agree. Yeah, like sort of like maybe you're all in on the infantry side of things.
They're definitely effective. It's just they don't give me any. I don't get excited thinking about strategic ways to use the techs. Essentially,
Yeah, I'd agree with that. None of these techs make me think, it's just amazingly epic. I mean, it's kind of cool that the hoplites get the extra range. That sort of makes me think about how hoplites should work historically. That's kind of a cool little thing.
True.
I like it. But yeah, I'd agree. There are definitely cooler god techs out there. So I think pretty cool is decent. Okay, next up we have Hermes, the cavalry god for the Greeks, or one of them anyway. Let's see. Scrolling down, his god power is ceasefire. Prevents combat anywhere on the map for its duration, allowing a player to perhaps escape from a precarious position. Okay. Text Spirited Charge. Cav gain more speed and attack, as well as centaurs. Sylvan Lore. Centaurs have more HP, more range, and extra line of sight. And then Winged Messenger. Pegasi have +6 line of sight and move 20% faster. A free Pegasus is spawned at the temple, and it respawns whenever it's killed. The myth unit, of course, is the Centaur. Carter, what do you think?
It may be an effect of seeing Hermes pretty much every game when you play against not Hades.
Mm-hmm.
But that aside, I think he's okay. Centaurs are pretty cool. And obviously he's very strong, but in terms of just cool, I would probably put him on the same tier as Athena. I'm not looking at the tier list right now, so I don't know if there's. I don't know what level. I may put him one below if it's not just meh.
Yeah, for me, I kind of get the vibe that this is where there's going to be a split between strong and cool. I don't think they're the same thing. I'm not treating them like the same thing. And for me, like going down the art, I kind of think Hermes looks a little goofy. I mean, I think the art is fantastic as far as the art is concerned and everything. There's something about Hermes himself looks funny. I don't think it's as much of an upgrade as Athena was. I kind of like the old art for Hermes. And looking at the god power is a power that is extremely powerful. I think there are some incredible things you can do with ceasefire. There's a lot under the hood that makes it a really fun god power. But is it cool? Not really. I mean, not as cool as a lot of other things. It's very, like I said, under the hood. It's very subtle. The nature of ceasefire. The text, they're kind of whatever. I do actually, maybe my favorite part of Hermes is Winged Messenger. There's something so neat about getting the free Pegasus that you're able to constantly be using over and over again. That is very thematic and kind of reminds me of even some of the major gods and some of the cool things that they bring to the table by picking them. So I really like Winged Messenger. The other two I don't really care about. And then the Centaur, a really strong unit, but I would not maybe consider if we were doing a myth unit tier list for cool factor, I don't know that Centaur would be.
It wouldn't be too terribly high.
Yeah, I think they're probably
Danny?
worse, but yeah, Danny, I want to put him in meh okay. Where would you put him?
Yeah, he's kind of boring. I'm gonna be honest.
Okay, yeah, meh okay.
I don't play Cav, so
yeah. All right. Next up, we have Ares, the classical age Greek minor god. Let's see. His god power, Pestilence, prevents enemy buildings within the targeted area from producing units and attacking for a duration. It does not affect their tech research speed, though. Wait a minute. No, that's actually wrong. They changed that recently. It significantly slows the production of units. It doesn't actually shut it down. I think it used to shut them down, but that's changed. Wiki. I'm pretty sure that that's the case.
You're gonna need to double check that.
I might need to double check. Somebody in the comments will, they'll tell us we're wrong.
I mean, I could pull up the client and look at what it says in client.
You go for it, yeah. His techs, he kind of he upgrades everything, right? He's got a tech that gives the hoplites +1 divine attack, so it just makes them better all around. He's got a tech that makes archers attack faster and arrows fly faster. And then he's got a tech that makes the Hephaestus do more damage and unlock an age earlier. His myth unit is the Cyclops. So, thoughts. Danny, what do you think?
I mean, he's cool.
Mhm.
Has drip.
Yeah,
I like
he's
the
got drip.
top.
I actually
Yeah,
agree with you. Yeah, I was gonna say he's got drip.
That's
He's got drip.
more
That's kind of.
important, you know.
I,
Wrath of
I,
the Titans.
Go ahead.
You ever watch Wrath of the Titans?
No, I'm not seen Wrath of the Titans.
Okay. He was played by a Venezuelan actor. That's why one little bit
Of course, you
lore
would
I
know that.
Yeah.
Yep. Nice.
I think I like the Cyclops as a myth
Mhm.
unit. First off, it's probably out of the 3 archaic for Greek, it's probably my favorite. I like their special ability, the throw. You don't see it a lot, or I don't at least. That they're slow, and the other 2 are more attractive, I guess, for their strength. But and then Deimos's sword is a really unique technology to unlock a unit an age earlier, a very strong unit, mind you, an age early. I think that's really cool. But I don't know if I'd put him above Athena. The god power seems good, but not very interesting.
Yeah. I think that with Ares, first off, I think the art is really nice. It's really good art. And very I tend to like art that's a little more subtle. So I mean, there's things about the way that like the Athena art is really pretty and a really, I don't know, it's majestic but sort of understated. Ares is like in your face with the cool factor. He's in the middle of a battlefield. The blood moon is behind him with his flaming sword in the background, and just the artifacts of war strewn about him. It's very in your face with what kind of god he is and how cool he's supposed to be. So I like the art a lot. You mentioned kind of from a strategy point of view, he feels a little more generalist than either Athena or Hermes.
Yeah.
So, which is not necessarily a bad thing. Pestilence, I agree with you as a god power. I think there's probably, probably stronger god powers in the game or cooler god powers. But I do think it is really neat. You can use it to cool effect. The Cyclops, from now as a concept, I'm thinking about going back and reading the Odyssey and that kind of thing. The Cyclops is a fun myth unit to bring into the game. I will say from a gameplay perspective, and maybe it's just because I've not played enough of the Greeks and not enough of Ares, but I've always had a hard time differentiating the Cyclops from the Minotaur. Is there just like functionally what is it supposed to do? It seems like it fulfills the same function as this tanky frontline unit.
Yeah, I mean, from my experience, as limited as it is with Greeks, the Minotaurs, at least its ability is disruption, whereas the Cyclops is more area damage.
I will grant you that there is something really cool you can do when they pick up a unit and you like target where he's gonna throw that infantry. That's really cool. I do like that a lot. So my vote, I wouldn't put him at the very top, but I would say he's definitely pretty cool.
Yeah, I agree with Athena. Yeah.
Can you show his original art?
Yeah. The OG art right there.
Oh, okay.
Not bad, but honestly, I think he kind of looks a little Zeus-esque, and yeah, I think.
Why does he have an onion bulb on his head?
Look, man, he's got a big head. Don't tease him about
brain power.
All right. He's got the brain power. That's right. So yeah, I think pretty significant glow up there for Ares is my thing. Yeah, I'd say pretty cool. That's my.
The splash art's pretty cool.
I agree. I think the splash art's a part of it. Yeah, for me, it's a big part.
Are we ordering like the individual
within the tier? Like,
yeah, I don't know.
Can for the extra factor. I mean, the main thing is definitely like.
Yeah,
we'll do that after we sort them. I think.
Yeah, that's going to be easier.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
I agree.
Right, yeah. Well, we could do too. We could also we could stop with every era and just sort of do a quick rearrange.
Yeah.
Kind of like that. Yeah. All right. Next up, we have Bast, and I'll give you guys a break. I'll share my opinion first on Bast. Bast is kind of an Egyptian classical age goddess. Her god power, Eclipse, gives a bunch of extra hack power and extra armor or less vulnerability to myth units, as well as their myth abilities will fire faster, and your monuments generate more favor during the time of eclipse. So everything myth is just better while eclipse is going on. You got some interesting text. Sacred cats farm gather rate goes up a bunch. The Adze of Wepwawet, laborers can chop trees down faster, they gather wood faster. And then her myth unit is the Sphinx, which can be upgraded not once but twice to a Cryosphinx and then a Hierakosphinx. The Sphinx is a fast-moving melee unit, effective at raiding and destroying buildings. Interesting that I didn't realize that the Sphinx was specifically a building destroyer.
It actually has crush damage in addition to hack.
Yeah.
I don't know that.
I didn't know that. I gotta play around with the Sphinx some more. Anyway. So, I think that there's from the OG art to the new art, Bast may have, like without going and looking at them all right now, Bast might have the best art in the game. Or at least
wait, no.
Let me redefine that. Let me back up and reset that. I think that she might have among the most dynamic art in the game. Like when I was talking earlier about the difference between Ares and Athena, like Bast represents that Ares side of the, kind of that dynamic, dramatic, behold my terrible power and despair sort of art. Like, if she's not number one, she's got to be in the top three. Just as far as capturing that really sort of dramatic look. So I think the art is really cool. It's S tier art. I think Eclipse is a really cool god power to play around with. It's very exciting and fun when you build up a myth army and then you send them to your enemy and just trigger that power, and all of a sudden you have super powered myth units. That's a really fun power fantasy to tap into. You got some really cool text behind that. They kind of feel like just personal, +5, +10%. How that doesn't seem cool, right? But for me, I don't know. Sacred Cats does feel like it is a really neat bonus to picking up that tech. And then the Sphinx. I mean, when you're thinking about Egyptian mythological creatures, the Sphinx definitely is really high up there. And it's cool, too, to see them in action, turning into a tornado and spinning around. For me, I think I want to put Bast in the S tier.
Yeah.
I'm not too terribly against it. And we can move her later, of course.
Sure.
My only hesitation to do that is I'm looking at, I'm thinking about the gods we've got to come in the later eras, and maybe it's not fair to compare it to later eras.
Yeah.
But we don't want to overclog the S tier, and her texts just aren't very interesting, and I think that may bump her down to A for me.
I do have a counterpoint. Kaiser, I DM'd you a picture.
Oh, the tarn.
If you want to pull that up, that's gonna change your mind and put her back in S tier.
Oh no.
You want to pull that up on the show?
You don't want to pull it up.
You're gonna want to pull this up. I think you're gonna need to strongly reconsider your position.
I don't think what you sent him is going to change my opinion on the matter.
So just for YouTube, right? He's pulling up the prior DE art. Yeah, what's so funny, having watched the game since beta, is just how dramatically different Bast looks between this art. This is not bad art, by the way. The sand, I forget what they're called, but sand cats are a real creature in Egypt that look just like this. They look cute as all get out, even though they are sort of ferocious predators of the desert. But they're cute little kitten things. To go from that to just
that
beautiful and terrible as the dawn, it's just definitely.
I'll relent to put her in S for now, but I want to hold that. We can move her down later.
Yeah. Now going back over to what I would consider kind of more that Athena side, the more subtle side. We have Ptah, which I'm pretty sure I was talking with the Discord server, and they say that the P is pronounced Ptah. And green skin dude. His god power, Shifting Sands, teleports a group of units anywhere in the player's line of sight on the map. Now, he's got some interesting texts that are really all about upgrading the Egyptian barracks units, which, kind of by themselves, they're outside of their very specific counter function, they're not very good. But he makes them way better as all-around units. Scalped Axe gives Axeman more damage. Leather Frame Shield gives Spearman more pierce armor, or less pierce vulnerability. Electrum Bullets, which is taking the game by storm right now, at least the conversation surrounding the meta. A lot of it is about Electrum Bullets, giving Slingers +1 divine attack. And then Shadoof, supercharging your economy, reducing the farm cost by 50%, as well as the build time by 50%. The myth unit, the Wadjet, a regenerating cobra that shoots venom at enemies. Carter. Salamander.
Yeah. I'll be honest, if we're talking about cool factor here, I think Ptah's on the weaker side in that realm. There's no doubt he's strong, but the only thing that's really cool to me is the Shifting Sands. Mm-hmm. The Wadjet's cool. I'll say that. The Wadjet is a cool myth unit. Mm-hmm. Like the poison aspect to its attack is pretty cool. And I mean, snake with wings, you can't go wrong with that. But I would honestly, I don't think we're going to get a ton in this tier, but I think Ptah belongs in that bottom tier, whatever you said, because he's not really cool by himself.
Mm-hmm. Danny, what do you think?
I like his power and technology. I think he's just kind of meh. He doesn't really look cool.
Yeah.
What's his original splash
the
art?
OG, yeah.
Oh.
I mean, yeah, it's. I think it's always going to be a question, and I might tick off some Age of Mythology, OG fans, but I think it's almost always going to be a matter of just how much better is the retold art. I really like the new art in the game, and it's actually more mythologically accurate to have Ptah's green guy anyway. I'm kind of feeling the same way as Carter. I'm feeling the same way as Salamander, where it's sort of like the art-wise, again, it looks cool, and I really do like the subtle art. I don't think it all has to be League of Legends style, whoa, super dramatic. I think that there is something to be said about sort of a subtle, poised dignity. I think that can be really cool in art, but at the same time, he's just kind of standing there with the pyramids behind him. It doesn't really indicate. I mean, I guess it's supposed to be technology behind him in a manner of speaking. But, he's just standing there, green dude. The God Power, which is, as you mentioned in the intro, is a really strong. It has its uses for sure. And I think it is maybe the coolest part of him. The idea that you get up this big army and then with the blowing of the wind, all of a sudden your army appears behind the enemy base. But even that's not really, it's not as cool as some other things that are out there. The techs, they are really neat, but in more of a subtle way, just make sure your barracks unit's stronger. And then the Wadjet, I think comparatively, a snake with wings is cool. But is it that cool compared to the Sphinx, compared to the Mummy, compared to whatever other, I think there's a lot cooler that Egypt offers. So, yeah, because I think right now, I would put him in not that cool.
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with how strong he is. That in the meta, he might be like one of the strongest minor gods in the game. But cool factor? Is it really cool? I don't know. All right.
You gotta let Danny go first on this one.
Anubis,
Look
Danny.
at him. He's cool. Look at him.
Yeah.
Look at that. What's his original? I don't know what it's.
Okay, you've never seen
what does his original look like? That's fine. That's still drip.
Yeah, he's got
probably the best one we've seen. Actually,
he's got a style to him. He's got a little bit of an attitude. I like it. But yeah, I mean, once again, kind of in the same vein as Bast, like really dramatic. The interplay of the light and the dark. It's like nice art. Yeah. So okay, Anubis's god power, Plague of Serpents, lets you spawn a group of serpents anywhere in the map to help lock down a location. Right. His techs gives Spearman poison damage. Necropolis increases the favor that monuments generate. And then Feet of the Jackal, which improves his myth unit, the Anubite, A fast-moving melee unit that can leap into combat. Yes. So, Danny, you're saying S tier?
Yeah, he's cool.
He is extremely cool. Carter?
You're gonna elaborate on that?
I don't need to elaborate on rule of cool. Look at him.
It's just like,
You
look,
can
okay,
also-
what more do you need? There it is.
One more
S
you
tier.
need. You can also hide the Anubites behind a tree and jump on lumberjacks through the trees, which is really funny.
That is funny. I agree. I don't disagree that he should go S tier. It is Anubis. I guess my only, if I'm going to be a bit more negative than Danny, would be that I find the Anubite to be kind of meh. It's just a man with a jackal head, so it's like mini Anubises, which are cool, I guess. It's just compared to other myth units we're going to see, they're kind of eh.
Right.
Still, I think he goes in S. The art is cool, and it's Anubis.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I think the art is extremely cool. Anubis may be the most well-known Egyptian god. Just from a pop culture point of view, and I think that the presentation sort of lives up to that art style wise. I think that the texts are decent. The god power is decent. It's decently cool. I mean, I think they are cooler, but I think it's decently cool. The texts are decently cool. It does feel fun to play with Necropolis and know that you're just getting all that extra, favor gen coming out of your monuments. So that's a really nice tech. And then the Anubite is a pretty cool myth unit. I like the Anubite. If I were to be like, in the back of my mind, the one thing that's weird, and since this whole tier list is about vibes, I'm going to share it. The one thing that's weird is that when I'm actually playing the game, the Anubite icon, to my eye, in game, it doesn't always look like a dog head. It looks like this weird, like, man head with just sort of like a black, strange, like his face just looks strange and malformed. It doesn't look like this is a dog, a jackal's head on a warrior, which I can tell by actually looking at the art. I can see it here just fine, but in game, it always strikes me weird, and that just it just gives me strange vibes playing him. Nevertheless, I think I will align with Danny.
He needs to go above Bast. We can just go ahead and put him there.
You're gonna go ahead and throw him ahead of Bast?
Yeah, why not? I don't think Danny's gonna complain.
I don't think Danny's gonna complain either. Would I agree with that? I don't know. I think it's close enough. I'll
They're both cool.
I'll take it. I mean, they're both S tier for sure. Okay, that is Egypt. Like all the extremes. So far, we have Greece kind of in the middle, hanging out, and mid tier, and then we have Egypt, either extremely cool or just not cool. So where will the Norse take us? Next up, we have Freyja. This will be. I'm looking forward to talking about this. So Freyja, her god power, Forest Fire, burns down a forest, damaging nearby enemy units, buildings, and animals. The Tex, Thundering Hooves, gives extra movement speed to Cav. Disablot upgrades Valkyries to Shield Maiden Valkyries, giving them more damage and healing rate. Sesrumir gives Herses and Godis more HP. And the Myth unit, the Valkyrie, is a fast-moving cavalry warrior that can heal friendly units. Salamander, take this one.
My opinions on Freyja. I think she's all things considered, the art is good. Of course, dynamic posing is always cool. I think her god power is very boring. It's got its uses. It can open up wall. It can open up a entry into an opponent's base. It can do some damage depending on positioning. But it's just boring, especially when you're looking at other god powers in comparison. The Valkyrie, I think, is what kicks her up a notch. The Valkyrie is a really cool unit, and really strong at the moment as well. I don't know. Would I put her with Hermes?
Yeah.
I think she's cooler than Hermes, but I don't know if it's enough to be on the same tier as Ares. Yeah, I would put her in the same tier as Hermes. I think her techs are very, while strong, very uninteresting. So that's where I would put her.
Danny.
I mean, I think she's cool. I don't play Norse, but I do have a soft spot for Forest Fire after Carter had half of his army burned to death in that game the other day. And I think
Anything that contributes to my suffering.
what's the original art?
Oh yeah, the OG art, yeah.
Oh,
That's not bad.
Yeah,
No,
that's
it's not bad. So I'm gonna jump in with my opinion on this. So Freyja, talking about the art first, I'm gonna go on a little bit of a rant about the art, which is I really actually like the OG art a lot. I think there's something very picturesque about the portrayal of Freyja here. I like the original Age of Mythology art a lot, and we see kind of like with maybe not as extreme as Bast, but really big differences between the original retold Freyja art and the new one. If I were to scroll down, here we go. This is the beta art. I think this is among my favorite beta arts in the game. I think Freyja, just the presentation looks really nice. The kind of the shawl is really cool, and she's just standing and posing elegantly. The spears really. It's a really nice, picturesque, beautiful picture. I like it. The new Freyja art. Now, whether this is a good thing or bad, she looks intense. She's a warrior ready to fight, right? And she's not like when I say she's not there to look pretty. She's there to plunge her spear into somebody's chest, which is either a good thing or a bad thing, depending. You know, it's like it's very the tone is very different. The thing that ultimately kind of maybe throws me with the art is I don't know that it communicates a lot about what she's supposed to be. So it's very dynamic, but also kind of a I don't know. For me, I go back and forth on this between liking it and maybe not liking it as much. I don't know which one I like more, but it is very different art. But I do really like the OG art a lot. I like the presentation there. So I think Freyja's always had really good art. Forest Fire, I don't really find that. It's the kind of power that, maybe if you catch an opponent unawares, you can get some serious damage. But normally, it just sort of feels like a waste in my experience. It's like you almost wish that you were playing with any other minor god.
And how often do you find yourself going, "Oh wow, that's cool," when you use Forest
Right.
Fire?
Oh, that was cool. That was a cool
Yeah.
moment. I did see one clip one time where an opponent was like bringing his army around a bend of trees. And so all of the units were clumped around these trees, and he just didn't realize, he wasn't paying attention. So Forest Fire comes down, and the army just melts to this, the beam of light that then sets the trees on fire. So, I mean, it does have its moments where you can have a cool moment, but it sort of relies on your opponent just not
paying attention.
Yeah. So, Forest Fire, I don't really like it as a god power, I'll be honest. Not to mention, does that even really connect to Freyja? Like what she's about?
I don't think so, but I'll be honest, my knowledge of Norse mythology is not as strong as other myths. So.
Yeah, me either. But just goddess of love and sorcery. Like, okay, Forest Fire. All right. Maybe someone can jump in the comments and say, no, it definitely fits. But the text don't really do a lot. The Valkyrie, I do think, keeps her out of the bottom tier. The Valkyrie, when I started playing Age of Mythology, and again, this has nothing to do with the meta, nothing about how, whether the Valkyrie's OP or not. Just when I started playing Age of Mythology, the Valkyrie to me was like the coolest concept of a myth unit. This really strong fighter that can then turn around and heal up your army. Just that combination of skills. Because the Valkyrie's not just this weak healer. The Valkyrie's point is not to heal. The Valkyrie's point is to fight and then heal. And she does a very good job of both. So I really like the myth unit. And that's probably, in fact, why the god power is so weak. And the texts maybe are boring, is because the Valkyrie is such a cool, unique unit. I feel like I love the Valkyrie so much as a myth unit, I cannot in good conscience put Freyja in the bottom tier, but I would feel comfortable putting her in Met, okay?
That's where I wanted her to. Yeah, I agree. No. Danny, you opposed?
No, that's fine. That's about where I'd put her.
Next up, we have... let's see. Forseti. We got Forseti next. He is the god of justice for the Norse pantheon. His god power is Healing Spring, Creates a spring that heals all nearby units captured by any player who surrounds it. Techs include Dwarven Breastplate, giving the Berserks and the Hyrdmen 20% reduced hack vulnerability. Cave Troll, which of course upgrades the Troll to Cave Troll, makes its rock throwing power do more damage. Speaking of, the Troll is his myth unit. Hall of Thanes gives infantry additional movement speed and heroes as well. So, Danny, where would you place Forseti? Here's the OGR, by the way. There's OG Forseti.
It's not bad.
I think there's worse, but yeah. And then here's new Forseti. So, all right, what do you think? Where does Forseti go?
I like the Hall of Thanes for infantry, making her see a little faster.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's okay. Like I think he's cooler than Hermes.
Mm-hmm.
Is Hermes going to be our baseline?
Is he cooler than Hermes? He plugs the top half.
I mean, yeah. Like, I think he's decent. I don't play Norse, so like I don't. Yeah. I've used him once.
Okay. I really like Forseti. The art is really cool. You were talking about how not every art needs to be dynamic and like epic. And you were using Ptah as an example, but I think Forseti is a better example of that than Ptah.
I agree with you.
It's just Norse.
He looks Norse, but he looks cool. It's just a really, really good art piece, I think. And Healing Spring, while not a really cool show-stopping god power, so that does knock him down a bit. Cave Trolls are really cool. If you can look at the art for the icon for Cave Troll.
Yeah.
I don't know if this shows up in game. Yeah, for Cave Troll, the tech. One of the I love the face of the second head.
Pretty.
Yeah, pretty much. I love the dichotomy there. You see in a lot of two-headed creatures. So that all the myth unit text, a lot of them change the appearance of the myth unit, but the Cave Troll is the one I notice, like in game. The Sphinx changes enough through its 2 upgrades, but the Cave Troll is one of the few where once they get their myth unit upgrade, I notice.
Wait, so they actually have a second head?
Yeah, they do. Yeah,
that's
in game.
Amazing.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I would put them on the same tier as Athena.
I agree with you. Everything you just said. I agree that Forseti does a really good job of kind of bringing that subtle, austere, majestic sort of look with a hint of that divine power. With the radiating colors sort of behind him. It's not like wild crazy. It's not a League of Legends pose by any means, but it is like, and that's not a bad thing. I think it is a really good. Again, sort of an austere, majestic look. I like the art a lot. I do think the Troll is a fun myth unit, and I did not know that they got the second head with Cave Troll, which is awesome. That is cool. I agree that Hall of Thanes is a really cool tech. You can sort of feel when you pick up that technology, like, wow, I'm actually moving a lot faster, and it gives you this impact that maybe just reading the description does not. And I think where I disagree with you is I actually think Healing Spring might be a little cooler than you're giving it credit for. Because as soon as you throw down Healing Spring, it creates this dynamic on the map where there is a specific location that you now own and need to... It's like, you have this advantage here. You're going to fight here, and if you lose it, you've probably lost the game. I mean, just because... presumably you're investing so much wherever you put that Healing Spring, but it can swing, battles on that particular part of the map. I think it just creates a lot of dynamic gameplay and exciting gameplay in a way that, to kind of beat a dead horse here, but like, Forest Fire doesn't.
Yeah.
I like Healing Spring a lot. For me, I think Forseti is definitely in pretty cool at least. And maybe even, I'm not going to say S tier, but I'm going to say maybe better than Athena and Hades.
I think or Ares.
All right,
And
yeah,
I agree.
Ares, yeah.
I would put him there too, unless Danny wants to fight on that.
No, that's about where I put him.
Okay.
Yeah, nice. All right, next up we have Heimdall. We've been doing a lot of talking about Heimdall recently. The god of vigilance. The god of vigilance. His god power Undermine damages enemy buildings and instantly destroys walls and towers in the line of attack. His technologies include Safeguard, which increases the HP of walls and towers and reduces the gold cost of all Norse buildings. Gjallarhorn, which upgrades the Einherjar, which gives you more HP and attack. Rikstula, buildings work 20% faster. And Arctic Winds, which gives longboats additional HP and speed. The myth
That
unit...
is moved to Scotty. Arctic Winds.
Oh, wait. Oh! Then you have nothing. You have nothing in the water there, Heimdall. His myth unit, Einherji, is a powerful but slow melee unit that is good against buildings and can blow a horn to boost the attack of nearby units. I think it's my turn to go first. I think that we're in the middle of figuring out Heimdall. We've been having a lot of conversations about Heimdall, trying to figure out, what is the best way to play him? What does he bring to the table? Can you use him to do some serious early damage, or is he a good late game, god choice? What can he do? And I think there's some really interesting possibilities. Like we've been talking about, Rikstula makes even your town centers significantly better. So that's a really nice economic tech, a military tech. It's a good all-around technology to pick up. Safeguard does not just improve your walls and your towers, although that's a huge part of why you would maybe pick this god and pick that tech. Makes the watchtowers cheaper, but like it even reduces the cost of forts and even town centers, right? So if you want to throw down a lot of TCs around the map, you're able to do that a lot more cost efficiently thanks to Safeguard. The Einherji is an extremely cool myth unit to play around with. Just hearing that horn go off and watching the rest of your units get this rate of attack increase, it feels really good to play with. And the art is exceedingly cool. I love the portrayal of the Rainbow Bridge behind him. Really, really, really good art. And yeah, do I even need to describe the before and after there? Yeah. For me, I think he's in a really good spot. I won't rank him yet until you guys share with me what you think.
Yeah, I tend to, when I first saw Heimdall, like when I first started playing the game and I first saw Heimdall, my immediate reaction was boring. Because at first glance, his techs don't seem to do that much, right? Like they're very passive. I mean, I guess all techs are in a way, but you don't notice them as clearly as you would notice like Hall of Thanes, like you mentioned. Like you can feel Hall of Thanes. You're not going to necessarily feel Rikstula or what was the other one? Safeguard.
Yeah, Safeguard, right.
So, but as like you said, we've been talking about him more. He's gotten a lot more interesting to me. I mean, the art, like you've already mentioned the art. We don't need to go over that. And the Einherji is really cool. It's one of the cooler Age 2 myth units to me. The horn is just it'll swing fights. It's a mini flaming. It's really, really good.
Yeah.
I like it a lot. I'm gonna let Danny go, but I have an idea of where I'd put him.
I mean, I don't really have an opinion. I don't play Norse. I've never played Heimdall. I'll offer the fact that he's played by Idris Elba in the Thor movies, so it's
that would boot him up a little, right? I mean,
that boots him up. Oh yeah.
Knuckles plays Heimdall.
Like in Sonic movie?
Yeah, in the Sonic movie. That's Idris Elba.
Idris Elba.
Yeah. You didn't know that? Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
I knew that, but it still seems like cursed knowledge that I shouldn't.
We want to put this man in S tier.
Just because Idris Elba
Just
plays.
because Idris Elba, yeah, Idris Elba
No.
S tier.
I was gonna put him up with Athena and Ares.
Yeah.
And Forseti. I was gonna put him in that tier. Would be where I'd put him.
Yeah.
Because I do think Forseti's cooler than Heimdall. So if we're gonna put Heimdall in S tier just because of Idris Elba, then I want Forseti up there.
Yeah, no.
Can we put
I'm
a
not
picture of Idris Elba in S tier?
I do agree with you. I think maybe like recency bias is making him a little bit cooler than I otherwise would think of him. I mean, the text, I agree with you. You don't really feel the technologies. Undermine is a god power. We haven't talked about Undermine a lot. I could see where that might be useful, but I have yet to have a game where Undermine has felt like really cool. A lot of times it just sort of feels underwhelming. And then the Einherji, extremely cool to actually play around with, but do I think that the Einherji are as cool as the Minotaur?
He's cooler than Hermes, so he's going in that tier.
No, I agree. I kind of want to put him maybe behind Athena right now.
Can Undermine kill Hades Sentinel?
It does not. I tested that recently in a game. It does not. It does a lot of damage to it, but I don't think it's not like towers. Like towers and walls are gone as soon as Undermine hits it. Hades towers just take damage.
Which is funny because normally I think the watchtowers are stronger, if I'm not mistaken. All right. So unless you guys disagree, I'm putting him in pretty cool. I'm putting him behind Athena.
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
All right.
That's fine.
I could be convinced to put him in the number 2 spot. All right, we have our first new god to Age of Mythology Retold, having come with the Freyja god pack. We have Ullr. He is the god of oaths and archery, and also skiing. He's a ski boy. His god power, as Guardian Bastion, erects a powerful hill fort-like fortification. His myth unit, the Draugr, an undead archer whose arrows penetrate multiple targets. My AoE2 fans can think of the Draugr as kind of like a scorpion, right? Does a lot of pierce damage if you get good shots off. It also has a special attack, shooting 4 arrows at once in a wide arc. A spread between them allows it to hit multiple enemies. His myth text, Valgaldur, upgrades the Draugr to Revenant Draugr. Gives more attack damage and line of sight. Servants of Glory. Longhouse units gain extra speed and a passive short burst of speed after standing idle. Ring Oath lets you recast the Asgardian Bastion for less favor. And Idalir. Hill Forts and Asgardian Hill Forts. Train units and research techs 20% faster. And you can train portable rams in the Classical Age. Danny, I'll let you go first on this one. What do you think?
Are skis canon?
Skis are canon. Yes,
he is the god of skiing.
Canon, yeah.
That's mythologically canon.
He is the god of skiing.
That they had skis?
Yeah.
Yeah,
they got skis.
That's kind of cool. I like Bastion. I've only seen it used because I don't have Freyja, but like it's cool. I like the Draugr. I like the Bastion. Like I think he's with Athena and Ares. He looks a little goofy in the skis. I'm gonna be honest, but like
I'll raise you that. I actually think he's worthy of S tier, and all the things you've said so far, Danny. But also his techs are some of, I think Freyja's unique gods. Their techs are very interesting, and I haven't figured them all out yet. So Servants of Glory is similar to House of Thanes, but worse unless your units are standing still, and it's just a very unique bonus that isn't available. Like nothing similar like that is available to any of the other gods except for Vidar, which we'll get to later. And then Idalir is, I mean, for such a defensive god, it's weird that he's such a oriented tech. I think it's cool. And while it's not explicitly mentioned, Huskarls are actually available in the Classical Age. So Freyr is the only Norse god who can get Huskarls in Classical because he gets that Asgardian Bastion, which is another factor to him.
Oh, wow. That's a really good point.
I want to put him in the bottom part of S. We could put him down later if need be. But at the very least in the pretty cool tier.
one thing that I'm not going to allow this, like, I'm not going to factor this in, but there's a part of my brain that wants to give him credit as the first of sort of the new gods, the new minor gods. I sort of want to give him a little extra point just for what his inclusion in the game represents. Because I remember when Age of Mythology, Retold was announced and it was coming up to release, I'm like, hey, we're gonna add in new gods, and the first new god you can expect is Freyja. And that's all we knew. And we thought, well, does that mean it's going to be like just a minor god? That is Freyja going to be a minor god that gets added in, or maybe he'll be a major god? And that's, the debate was going on around that, and the conversation was only around Freyr. It was like he was the one god that we knew about. And then when the pack was actually revealed and we discovered he was a major god and bringing 3 whole minor gods with him, it just really expanded the roster and the excitement surrounding Age of Mythology Retold. So Ullr, I think maybe I have a little bit of bias on that front, just from what he represents for the future. Because everybody's thinking, okay, well, what's the next god pack going to be? Are we going to see, a new set of Greek gods or Egyptian gods or whatever, Atlantean gods? So I mean,
if the new gods are as unique and cool tech-wise and mechanic-wise, then bring them on, I say.
Yeah. I'll start with a negative. I do agree with Danny that there is something. The art is cool. The artist did an amazing job. And I mean, when you think about skis, they're not really that technologically advanced. I mean, they're 2 sticks, right? It's not that hard to come up with stick. But there is just something that feels ever so slightly off about Ullr. And I think the more I look at it, it's almost more charming than anything. But it does look a little funny at first glance, at least to my eyes. I like it though, but it does the art does look a little weird. I think though, art aside, everything else about him, I agree with you. It's like the god power is incredibly cool, extremely cool, very dynamic. You're getting a fort. Again, for my AoE2 fans, think about the idea of building a castle in the feudal age. I mean, just how insane is that, right? You're getting up this fort that unlocks new units to you. Absolutely will lock down a location if the game stays in Age 2 for a long time. That's wild. The Draugr is a really fun myth unit, a very cool myth unit. Not only do you just have the undead zombie fighter part of it, but even just thinking about, like, the Norse do not usually get archers, right? Because their range unit are throwing axemen, which are cool, but you don't get archers. And I guess maybe as a god of archery, it makes sense this myth unit would be an archer, and it's kind of cool for me personally, anyway, to be able to bring that in to the Norse roster, right? The myth techs, I think, are really neat, especially, like you say, Servants of Glory seems intriguing. I've got to experiment with how that passive short burst of speed works, but I like the idea of it. But between Ring Oath letting you recast the ability for significantly cheaper, and then being able to, I love Ullr, because what it says is, and I showcased this in my own Ullr game that I had on the channel recently. It's like, if you're doing well, you don't need to worry about Age 3. You pick up this tech and you end the game, right? So I really like being able to train portable rams in the classical age, if you see that it makes sense for your game.
And one thing about Ullr is, even if you don't, like, it's still a decent tech to get even after the classical age, because it increases the work rate of your fortress. I typically forget that, because the showcase point of that tech is portable rams and classical,
right?
But that's another factor to consider.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, you're right. Exactly. That is true too. It doesn't lose. I mean, I guess technically it might lose a little bit of its point, but there's a very good reason to pick up Ullr, even if you do hit Age 3 first. So, yeah. So for me, maybe it gets dinged a little bit by the art, which even then I think it's cutesy. The art does remind me. I've complained before about Freyr's art himself. The art of Freyr, the major god, looks ever so slightly weird to me. Like, it just looks slightly different from all of the other god portraits in the game. And I think Ullr has the same thing, where it feels like the camera is zoomed out a little bit, and it's not quite majestic. It's not quite like super dynamic. I mean, there's obviously motion and action happening, but you're making the argument for the bottom of S tier. I think I can go on with that just because what he brings to the table from, you know, the gameplay point of view is just so much. I think he's pretty cool. I think he's cool. That takes us to our final set of classical age gods. In Atlantis, we are starting with Prometheus, which as of this recording right now is kind of seen as the classical age meta must-pick god. If you have access to Prometheus, you pick Prometheus, is what a lot of people argue. His god power, Valor, turns one human unit into a hero and heals it right away. Technologies, he's only got 2. Heart of the Titan promotes human units. Promoting human units to heroes takes way less time. And Alluvial Clay gives Prometheans more HP, and they spawn an extra Promethean offspring when they die.
He also has Heart of Fire.
Do I not? It's not in the wiki.
There it is.
Which, oh. Wait, I see Heart of the Titans.
Yeah, Theft of Fire's down one more row.
Oh, you're saying Theft of Fire?
Yeah.
Well, okay, Theft of Fire. What's that? Okay, Citizen Heroes gain 20% extra gather rate and build rate, which is pretty cool. Okay.
Is that unique to Prometheus, though?
Yeah, it is.
Wow. All right.
I mean, it's called Theft of Fire.
I mean, yeah, but
Prometheus.
Danny, thoughts?
I like every part of his kit.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I like Valor. Heart of the Titans is nice for later. Prometheans are fun. Because if you kill them, I think they have the same hit points. They're just a bit faster. No, sorry. They have the same damage. They're just faster.
Mm.
Which is splash art?
Oh, yeah. Okay, OG art.
Oh!
Old Prometheus.
Yeah, I mean, that's...
And there's new Prometheus.
And
then if you want it, I can scroll down and we can find beta Prometheus.
That's not too bad. That fits more of the clay dudes.
The clay dudes are in the
they're in both. Yeah, they're not quite as.
Yeah. I like the aesthetic of this one of him.
Yeah.
Helping them. I think it looks nice.
I'll just jump in. I agree that like the art here tells a story in a way that very few, I think, of the god arts do. So I do like that a lot. It gives you this snapshot of this defining moment of who Prometheus is. Yeah, I would agree with that. Okay, Carter, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I don't have a lot to say on Prometheus. I was not initially drawn to him to begin with. That doesn't mean anything. It's just Valor is not the show-stopping, cinematic effect, right? Mm-hmm. Of some god powers. Mm-hmm. Prometheans are cool, but I think I'll just kind of give way on y'all. I haven't played a lot with Prometheus, so I'll just kind of take a sidestep and leave this one up to y'all.
I think that the art is maybe the highlight from the cool factor. The art is really cool for Prometheus. Again, I love that it tells the story just in that one snapshot. I also like how he's surrounded by functionally his myth units, right? Which we don't see from a lot of the god portraits, but it is kind of it just does a lot. I like the art for Prometheus a lot. So the god power Valor, it can be cool in actual gameplay when you get into a fight of 3 spearmen versus 4 archers or whatever. In those sorts of really small engagements, being able to use Valor to instantly you wait for a unit to get really low on HP and then instantly zap. They're full HP and they're a super powered hero version of themselves now. That is thematically cool, and it does mean a lot gameplay wise. It's cool. I don't know if it's that cool. It can be a little understated, a little it can be ignored, and some people don't really use it correctly, or maybe I shouldn't say it that way. But the way it sometimes gets used is you just click Valor and then you just are randomly just picking units to turn them into heroes, and that can maybe feel a little boring, or just I don't know, doesn't do a lot for me. The text, Heart of the Titans, maybe this is me. Like, okay, you're saving a little bit of time actually promoting the units, whatever. I've never really noticed that it's been that big deal. Alluvial clay I often forget to research. And again, maybe that's a flaw on my end, but I don't know. Neither of the technologies really do a lot for me. Theft of fire is another one I would also forget. So all the text for Prometheus, I don't really care that much about. The Promethean definitely is or was as of this recording a big meta unit, but Promethean is okay. You know, it's okay. It doesn't really strike me as super cool. I really like the art though, and I do think he's fun to play. So for me, I would make the argument putting him probably maybe above Heimdall, but below Athena is what I would argue.
Danny, because like I said, I'm gonna step aside on this one.
That's fair. Athena has cooler tags. I just like the myth that they captured in the splash art.
Yeah, I agree with you. Yeah, it's like the
splash
art
gives them a ton of points.
If we were just ranking the art, Prometheus might be S tier.
The more I'm looking at it, move Heimdall below Ares.
You think so?
Like the goofy rainbow bridge behind them.
No. I like the rainbow bridge. I'm more thinking of like they both have cool splashes. They both have decently cool myth units.
Yeah.
To me, but Ares' texts are a lot more interesting than from a gameplay perspective than Heimdall's. You feel them more, right? You get Hephaestus in H2 with Ares. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. I would agree with that. That makes sense. So yeah, with Prometheus, if we were just ranking the splash arts, he might actually be my favorite art in the game. He would be up there. It's like super high S tier because he represents the subtlety element of the art really well. You know, I mean, just you're telling a whole story. He's just standing there, but there's so much being communicated. The theft of fire, you know, bringing it down to humanity, and just everything about that. It's really cool art. I like it a lot. It's just everything else in the package. I say, you know, decent. Leto or Leto? I don't know how to pronounce this one. Wait a minute. Classical age. Okay. So the goddess or the titaness of motherhood and stealth. Okay. God power spider layer hatches spider eggs that turn into invisible traps for enemy human units that come close to them. Text Hephaestus revenge. The automatons have 30% more HP and regenerate HP per second. Volcanic forge reduces the pierce vulnerability of automata, human units, heroes, and ships. And the myth unit, the automaton, a metallic soldier that can repair themselves. They can rebuild each other. You know, if they die, they are the robots of Age of Mythology, other than the Colossus, I guess. That's the automaton. Carter, what is your opinion?
She needs to go in the bottom tier. She's the only thing that's the automaton's the only cool part about her. The splash art is good, right? But I don't even know if she's a Titan. I don't know if she counts as a Titan like the rest of them do. Rest of the minor gods with Atlantis. Atlantis is a weird faction anyway, so that probably shouldn't even matter. But her god power is lame and it's hardly ever effective. Her techs are boring. The automaton's the only thing she's got, and the last time we had someone with only one cool aspect, which was Ptah, they went in the bottom, and Ptah's cooler than Leto, in my opinion.
Danny, what do you think?
I don't know what spiders have to do with Leto. I want to be honest
too, and that would be maybe ignorance on my end. Maybe I don't know part of the lore. I mean, she's a titaness of stealth, so I guess you know, it's like sneaky or something. I don't know.
I don't
but
think she's a Titan either. But I mean, I don't know if Prometheus was as well, but I do like the automatons. And that you can technically go over the pop cap with them, which is kind of funny.
Yeah, that's all she's got though.
I mean, yeah, I don't go Leto unless I misclick.
I'll say two things about Leto. One, I really like her art, and I like the presentation. One of the things that I really enjoy about her, I guess as a tightness of motherhood, this makes sense. But I really enjoy how she is obviously this feminine goddess character, and is unapologetically feminine. I mean, it's like womanhood, represented in this goddess. And I mean, like there are other like you have Athena as goddess of wisdom, or Freyja, the goddess of sorcery, and that sort of thing. But they're presented as fighters or wise, and that's all wonderful. But Leto being like I don't know, the goddess of motherhood, I think that's really cool, and I kind of want to give maybe because she stands out in that way. I don't think there's any other goddess, maybe kind of Rhea, but not really. I think Leto stands alone in that way as being not just a goddess, but sort of a representing womanhood or femininity in that way, which I really like. On top of that, I mean, you guys know when we played League of Legends, I was a Victor main. Like I just the automaton just speaks to me. I love the concept of that myth unit. I think if we were rating myth units, that would be S tier for me. Like I love the concept of the automaton. It's an awesome myth unit, and not even just that, but things like having recently I watched the OG, not Clash of the Titans, but like Jason and the Argonauts, and like watching the sort of the Colossi and the automatons come to life. It's really really cool. So I like the myth unit a lot. Having said that, I do have to agree with Carter. Like Spider Layer, I have never really seemed to get it to work, and even when it does work, it doesn't feel that impactful. It does not feel like, oh, I got you in my mind game trap, and now you have you're gonna die because you fell for my scheme. It just feels underwhelming. It's not a good god power at all. The myth unit, I know this isn't about the meta. Conceptually, I love the automaton, but it does feel hard to actually use correctly, or maybe it's just weak. And the technologies as well just don't really feel like they do a lot. So with that, I will go.
What's her original splash art?
Oh yeah, okay, yeah, the OG splash art right here.
Oh, that's awful.
Yeah, yeah, and that would again, that goes to why I like the new art a lot more.
Yeah, the new art's better.
So for me, if you guys want to put her in not that cool, I can see it.
I think she's okay.
I would maybe put her in meh okay at least. Although there's a part of me again that I love the art, I love the myth unit. I almost want to bump it up to pretty cool from that side of things. But the god power is terrible. The texts are terrible, just thematically. So
she's all over the place thematically.
Yeah,
which is at least Ptah's consistent.
Yeah, Ptah's consistently not that cool.
Yeah. I don't know. I kind of want a doctor point because she's all over the place, but I can relent and put her in meh. That's fine.
Yeah. Oceanus, our last classical age god, or titan, whatever. He is the titan of water. This weird, what was it? Shape of water looking dude. Carnivorous.
No.
Summons a giant carnivorous plant that eats nearby enemy human soldiers and sinks ships. Apparently, we don't play a lot of water maps, guys, but the carnivore is apparently a lot stronger in the water than it is on land, which is interesting.
Well, I mean, water maps suck, so who cares?
I'm still not playing a water map.
Yeah, water map sucks. Who cares?
His text, Bite of the Shark, increases the Murmillo and the Fanatic damage by 5% and adds on a bleeding effect to their damage as well. Weightless Mace increases the Catapultist speed by 10% and their attack power by 15%. Frontline Heroics, transforming infantry into heroes, costs 30% less. The Myth unit, the Caladria, a fast flying unit with a healing ability but no attack. And the Servant, a naval unit with healing ability. Danny, what do you think?
I didn't know he actually buffed Catapultus.
He buffs all, yeah.
Oh yeah.
I mean, Carnivore is interesting in fights. Outside of it, I think you can just move villagers out of the way.
Mm-hmm.
I'm kind of neutral on him. He's okay. I don't think his art's bad. Like, it looks decent. So I don't think it's uncool. What's his original art?
Are you ready for this?
Oh, okay.
Oh boy.
Yeah. He
All
almost
right,
looks, he's posed like a werewolf.
Yeah.
Like a vampire
looks-
werewolf sort of thing, but
Yeah,
Yeah,
he
he
looks
is.
like Vlad.
yeah, like he's a water vampire. Yeah. All right.
I mean, yeah, he's
Now,
okay.
so Carter, I know that you've played maybe more Atlantis. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, as of late, I've been mainly playing, but I definitely started out playing Atlantis, and Oceanus was the one I was drawn to specifically for those techs.
Yeah.
Bite of the Shark, really cool name thematically with Oceanus.
Yeah.
I like it a lot. And obviously, strength-wise, it's a very good tech to get on your Mamillos and Fanatics if you get that late. Weightless maces, it's really fun to go Oranos with weightless maces and just watch your catapulties run around as fast as some cavalry. It's really funny. They're not as fast as like buffed up raiding cav or buffed up Hippias, but it is funny to see them run faster than certain cav. My only disappointment with Oceanus is I like him a lot. The Caladria just seems kind of out of nowhere thematically. And I think that would be my main complaint is I know the Caladria is very strong, but when I go Oceanus, I'm not exactly excited that I've got a Caladria now. It's just kind of like, okay, yeah, sure. I guess it's nice to have healing and the burst heal and the slow. Like,
Yeah,
mechanically, it's nice, but I never get excited with the Caladria.
For me, I'll flip the script a little bit. I actually do enjoy the Caladria a lot. And I know it's going to feel like I'm contradicting what I said earlier about the Valkyrie. But I think the Caladria is exciting in that she is one of the only myth units in the game that like does not have an attack. It's all about being a utility. She is the white mage. She is the healer of this army, and it just makes her stand out as really unique and really cool. And the fact that she has that switch between being able to heal up your army and then turn around and slow down the enemy army, I actually do get excited. I think, okay, how can I use this unit effectively to actually change the flow of a battle? That excites me in a way that if she were, I don't know, like a flying archer, I'd say, okay, it's another damage dealing unit. I really do like the Caladria, although if your point is to say how does she tie into Oceanus, that might be, I literally don't know the mythology well enough on that front. I can kind of see where it might feel like she comes out of nowhere.
Knowing the mythology is not really important from the
this is about vibes. Yeah, so so I do like the myth unit. I would say the god path or the art. I mean, it's technically nice. The Atlanteans are weird to me in that half of the gods are like the weird like half man, like with Gaia as a major goddess. Gaia is kind of Groot-esque, the tree woman. Whereas Oceanus, who's in the not Oceanus, Uranus, who is in the exact same like power level or whatever he's god of the sky, he's just a dude. He gets to just be a dude. She's this weird nature woman. So it sort of feels, what do I want to say? Like it feels not abstract, but sort of artificial. Like when does a Titan get to be a really kind of weird half man, half element creature, and when are you just a guy? I guess I'll give it points that it's like it differentiates him from Poseidon and other water gods, like we're gonna see not Ullr, but what's his face? What is that dude's name? The new Norse god tier 2. Anyway, the water
Aegir.
gods. Yeah,
Aegir.
yeah. So I guess it helps differentiate him that it looks like that. For me, I don't know. Even the water sigil he's forming in the middle here kind of looks sort of funny, a little League of Legends-esque. I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of the art. The god power I find to be underwhelming more often than not. Not as bad as spiders, but kind of underwhelming. I do agree. I like the technologies. Weightless mace feels awesome.
Carnivore is cool though. it actually eats a unit if you watch the
That
animations.
is true.
So it's a cool god power.
If you pull it off correctly, that's true. It like takes the guy, it eats him. All right, you make a fair argument. I just found that in actually playing it half the time, it's like, you know, it's very easy to ignore and step aside. But yeah,
I find it more useful.
Bite of the Shark is neat.
Uranus
Weightless
and Shockwave.
Mace, very neat. I like the Galadriel personally. My contention, I might argue for the top of okay.
I'm fine with that.
I'm okay with that.
Like I think he might be a step below the guys in Pretty Cool, but I do think he's better than Hermes. Okay, that's the classical age down. Nice. I'll delete that row.